In our last video, we showed all the randomized stories that you might find spawned on the roads of Project Zomboid, but the game understands that eventually you'll have to get out of your car, and so it has another entire category of random stories that can spawn off the road. To tell those stories that made it a bit closer to safety before they inevitably died. And here again, I've split them up into two main types. The first type is those that thought they were safe enough to set up camp. There, the tents are all set. Now, let's crack open a few of those beers, and we'll see if we can wash today out of our mind. Wait, did you hear something? In your wandering of the game, you might have found a scene like this. A couple of tents and a campfire, with maybe a chair or two and some beers, chips, and jerky. This is the basic forest camp, and is a great find early in the game. You can pack up the tents and campfire and bring them with you in case you need to sleep, cook, or boil water for bandages or safe drinking. And if you're lucky, there might be a few Zeds still walking around with some backpacks to get you started. Just don't eat the stew.
Kel, I don't like this.
What? What's wrong?
There's too many of us. We're making too much noise.
You've had a bad few days. You're just being jumpy. We're way out in the forest. They'll never hear us. In the zombie apocalypse, overconfidence has killed many, and this troop of hikers is testament to that. The row of tents can be packed up, there's usually a good amount of foodstuffs lying around, and there's usually only one zombie set munching on another body. This is one of the best finds, however, for getting yourself some great backpacks, as hiking backpacks and the big hiking variety are common in this scene. The only real problem is trying to carry all the backpacks that you might find here. Or maybe that's just me. All right, I think it's deep enough now. Time to say a few less words. Again. Sam? You idiot. Why did you hide her bite, Sam? You knew she was going to turn. It's not like she was really good for you. I told you to dump her, I suppose I shouldn't speak ill of the dead. What? Oh, crap, I took too long. Where's that shovel? A sad story being told here, indeed, of a burial that went awry, and the last corpse to be interred turned on his former friend. You'll find a few empty bottles around in case you need them for water or cocktails, and you'll find a handy shovel, but there's not much other loot here. Just a sad tale to make you memento mori. The last two camps are very similar in that you'll find a truck and a tent or tents and a campfire, more than likely. But the loot is the difference. The Hunter's Forest camp like this is populated by orange-clad zombies with guns, and you can find many guns and lots of ammo roundabout in the trunk and on the zombies. The Trapper's camp, in contrast, is filled with camo-clad zombies and will have traps strewn about, ready to use. Both will have some food, some jerky, anyone? Just don't ask where we got it, and maybe a few drinks. And both trucks are gonna be too broken to use, even if you do happen to find the key for it. The second category of survivor that you'll find while wandering around the map is the type that accepts their imminent demise and tries to live the last of life to its fullest with an ill-fated party. Oh, I got a bite. Ugh. Oh, get the net. It's a real fighter. Yeah, it's not a fighter, it's a biter. There are some people that will take every excuse to go fishing, and the end of the world seems like just the perfect time to call the boys and grab some tackle and head to the water. And their ill fate is your reward, since you'll find plenty of fishing poles, tackle, and fish traps to get you set up to grind fishing. Check the cooler and see if they caught any fish before they turned, and look for a toolbox for more fishing gear. But you can pretty much ignore the truck, it's gonna be a total loss.
If the world is ending, I'm not going to die without a good tan. What's all that screaming about? There aren't any sharks, this is a private beach.
What to say, there are just going to be people at the beach when all of it goes down. And that's just how humans work. So you'll not find much loot at all, except a few scattered drinks and snacks, and maybe a few Hawaiian shirts, if you're into that sort of thing. But overall, it's the worst beach party ever. Yeah, listen, I don't know why, but it's the law. when you're waiting for the brats to cook, you gotta click the tongs. I don't make the rules. Oh, hey, the Jeffersons made it. I thought they said their son was sick or something. Good to see him out of the house, though. There was lots of eating going on at this barbecue party, but the pork chops went to waste, and the drinks grew warm. There might still be some good food in the cooler, and if you need a grill, you're set now. But the best part about this barbecue is that none of the dads are wearing socks with their flip-flops. They're killing us out there. Guys, it's the second half of the sports ball game, and they're already ahead by 3 touchdowns. Now, just listen to our fans in the stands. They're still screaming from the beating we just got. Now, team, let's get back out there and murder those Thunders. I'm not a huge sports ball fan. At least not unless it's a robot baseball league or aliens or Quidditch or something. But even I know that when you find this scene, there was a game in progress, and not even the end of the world is going to stop these minor leaguers from finishing their game. You will find far too many bats out on the field for regulation play, some baseballs that I really wish could be used as weapons, and a ton of uniform-clad Zeds. The uniforms are nice, sure, but it's the batting helmets that are the real treat here. I guess everyone was up to bat at the end. I think there must have been a miscommunication in the dev team somewhere. One of the bosses said that they need a couple of music festival stories, and the guy in charge had never been to one and didn't want to get it wrong, so just programmed it to plop down a few musical festivity squares together, maybe. That's the only explanation I can find for these two stories. If a music festival stage scene gets spawned, you get a number of leather-clad musicians. Just don't kill them with edged weapons and you'll be onto some nice protection. And you'll also get a tight cluster of instruments and speakers. I do know about audio equipment, and that is not how you set up speakers. The other music festival scene is just 4 tiles of beer cans and bottles. So I guess that tracks at least, since the game could randomly spawn in a few of these at the same time and make it seem like there was one final kegger to ring in the new era. Now, a bit of a side note here. A couple of you were confused in our last video why I called the burnt car wreck a burnt car, when it doesn't look like the burnt car model, which is a separate model all on its own. And yes, there is this burnt car model that actually can be spawned in and will spawn in any car spawn area. But the reason I called this a burnt car scene is because that's what the game calls it. And no, I don't know why it doesn't spawn in an actual burnt car model, but you know it's a burnt car because you can't get in it. And there is one more random party story that you might come across in the game, and some of you noticed its absence in the previous video about all of the car scenes. It just happens to have an ambulance in it, but you can spawn it wherever in a zone, not just on the roads. You'll also find a couple of formerly amorous zombies, and most likely 2 piles of clothes. There's not much loot here besides the trunk of the ambulance containing medical supplies and most likely a trauma bag. And oh yeah, that brings us to another overly enthusiastic and utterly incorrect commenter from the last video that shall remain nameless, mainly because I can't read Cyrillic. No, the ambulances do not automatically have 100% engines. That's never guaranteed. What is guaranteed is another video out soon about all the annotated maps you'll find for Riverside. So subscribe and like, and tell YouTube you'll want to see more of this by commenting. And I'll see you in the next one.